Okay, so what have you dreamed up this time? Okay, so just a couple comments about the ball game. It was a heck of a football game, and a lot of fireworks, a lot of extraordinary plays, really on both sides of the ball for both teams. But it was again, I'm taking out of this another really unique win, a special experience going to OT. Handling it the way we like to handle it, getting the ball, starting off, going on offense, go win the game right off the bat. All of those things are the things that we like to, say we could do and carry out and finish in great fashion in that regard. And I think for the guys who haven't been in it, it helps them. It helps them know how we do it and what it feels like. There's, I hate to say it, but there's probably another one in the works down the road here somewhere. And if that's the case, then we will have been through it and grown from it. We have, I've talked about the whole year about this attitude of this team, and it's a really, really strong mentality that they have about hanging together, talking right, supporting each other, looking after one another and playing for one another and all of that. It's really important. It's an important message that goes throughout this locker room and in these halls here. And so we're going to try to keep building on it and to keep finding ways to find a way to win. In the case, a couple guys I want to mention, I thought Joey played a great game for us under all of the circumstances of his first start in a long time, and the guys that he was going against, and the respect that we have for the players that he went against in the front that we were up against. He did a really good job. The communications were great, but he played well too, and so that's a huge bonus for us, knowing that we won't have Justin for the rest of the season, for him to come through like that. And again, it's another really good example for us. The guys can step up, and if you have losses, we can endure them and we can recover and make it through it and do well by it. And the other one is, our guys in the locker room really jumped to Jason after the game, knowing that he had a tough day, and made a point to him, that we were there with him and supporting him, and knowing just like everybody else makes mistakes too in their jobs, and that sometimes it doesn't work out the way we want it to, but that doesn't mean that we're not caring for you and looking after you and counting on you. So in the communication back and forth I've had with him, he's ready to bounce, and we're ready to bounce, and we put what just happened behind us, whether it was good or whether it was bad. We put it behind us and we move forward, and so that's how we're going. So it was an amazing day at the stadium. God dang, the crowd was great, and all of the drama and all of that was just made for a really great experience.
You mentioned the attitude and the mentality. When a team has that, how much of that is developed and taught within the team, and how much of that is finding it in the right type of guy when you're scouting and evaluating players to bring in?
Yeah, I think you won't be surprised at my response. It's both. We're looking for guys that have a tremendous commitment to doing special stuff, and that they have an inner drive to really push and find a way to make a statement about what they stand for, and that's part of it. The leadership on this team, which is part of that process, the guys that stand up in front and talk and help these and support kind of the messaging, they stand for the right stuff, and then they have communicated through all of the process, all of the time we've been together, not in any one meeting or any one session or one speech or anything like that, just all the time being together about how important it is to look after one another and care for one another so that we can play together and play as one. And it's really valuable. But it's part of both, John. We want to try to find guys that understand that, and then when we find them, then we're going to really nurture that opportunity for them to share what they think and what they feel with guys who can learn from them and can grow from them, and try to build it as strong as we can.
You've mentioned this a few times. When did this start with this new round of belief and messaging to this team?
Yeah, it really felt like it came out of last season. And I don't have a specific time last year, but I know going into the off season, I had the hopes that it was going to carry over. So that was meaning that it already felt like the potential was there, and the direction and the intent about this upcoming year and how to go about it was kind of embedded already. And then we just have dwelled on it, really, to make sure that the guys have the opportunity to talk and express themselves and let it be known what their wishes are and how they want it to go and how they're willing to give to one another and all of that stuff. So. Yeah, it's a powerful experience. It's really something, and it's really been a joy to be around and been fun, and I'm looking for more of it.
Is there a young guy or two you've really seen emerge that way this year?
Like we know Russell, Amadi, and KJ, guys like that. But
Yeah, in a couple different ways too. Homer has been a guy that just in the way he works, that he's made it known to other guys what he's all about and where he's coming from, and he's been in the middle of everything. Trav's done a really nice job of expressing. Hadn't said a thing. He's just done it, which is a powerful message. Cody Barton has been, with his actions and with what he stands for as a person, has just been a tremendous factor, on these guys too, and he has jumped right in and been received. Both those guys have been received by the older guys almost immediately because they could just tell, and so there's just been some influences that have popped up totally unique to themselves. I'm not so sure that DK hasn't had a big impression on these guys now that they've seen him. It's taken a little bit longer for him because he's very quiet, and being a receiver, you're kind of out on the edge. You don't get in the middle of stuff as much as those other guys, but he sent a really firm message about how serious he is to be everything he can be for this team. And those kinds of messagings are really powerful, and so it's a really good first group. I'm sure there's other guys too, but those guys that come to mind.
On the radio this morning on DK, you were saying how he, has this kind of intrinsic, desire to be great. Is that something you saw in him, kind of in the draft process, or getting?
No, I can't say that. I didn't. I can't say that I didn't. My interaction with DK when we took our shirts off, and that wasn't much of a substantive meeting from that point on. It was just kind of fun and games, But our guys have scouted him, of course, and gone through the process and all that, and had really high praise for him and all that. But I don't think any of us really had the sense for how mature he is as a competitor at this point, And so it's great to see, and it's you can see he's excelling. I mean, it's part of it. He's very comfortable in the moments and very comfortable with the challenges and the process of the learning. And here we are, game 13 or something, wherever the heck we are right now. With our guys, and he's hanging right in there. Just like he's been around before. So I can't say that we had that one nailed.
Back to the messaging and the belief, was this exactly what you were banking on when you picked Wright and Wagner and Wilson to be your cornerstones going forward?
I'm trying to think of the individual cases, and it was early on. I can't say that before we drafted him we knew that, Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well,
From that core that won the Super Bowl to the last
no,
couple of years.
okay. There you go. I'm sorry. There was no question in both those two guys. I mean, Bobby was a leader immediately in the sense that he was calling defenses from the get-go. We just threw it on him. Kenny wanted to just make him have to do it, and so he's always been the voice, out in front of everybody, even with all the guys that we had back in the day. And so as times emerged, there was without question that he and KJ were just shoulder to shoulder on standing for what we like to all represent. And so when they've got the chance, and it took opportunity really, because there was kind of a normal kind of a staging of who does the talking and kind of who's up front and all that. And guys, respectfully, it kind of fits together. And so, and as it has fit together for these guys, they've taken over. Russell has taken over. They've just been remarkable, factors for us.
With Jason, is it kind of inconsistent the whole year? I think he's just 3 for 8 on field goals of 40 yards or longer. Is it mechanical? Is it mental? Is it a little bit of both? Or what do you feel like?
No, I think I always go back to the mechanics of it. He's always there's things that he wants to be really precise about. He's such a good practice guy, and his drilling and his reps and his mentality and his consistency is so good that it's like that's why we talk like we talk, because we know what he does on a daily basis. And so I think it's just turning the corner and hitting a better percentage of every in all facets of what he's doing. Why it went that way in one game, I don't know. But the body of work has been really otherwise, and so we're counting on him to come right back to his strength.
The support that he's gotten from teammates, what does that look like and sounded like?
Well, on the sidelines, it was obvious. The guys just came up to him and give him a little shot and say something to him, and give him a high five or whatever. And we're with you. And it happened in the locker room again. Players made mention of it in the huddle. It's just exactly what you would hope would happen, and all for the right reasons and in really classy fashion.
How's Quandre looking for this week for you?
We're anticipating he's going to practice and go full go, and we'll see what happens with that. We'll just take it one day at a time. But really excited to finally get him out there. He really hasn't had a chance to do anything yet. Barely started a little bit the first couple of days he was here, and never even ran full speed. But he has worked out this past week in order that trainers are letting him go.
Did his hamstring get worse upon getting to you guys to lead up to where you needed to drain it and such on Friday and get him back going, or was he basically working?
I don't know that. I don't know. I just know what we saw. I don't know what it was before that, so I can't tell you. But he didn't get worse here because he hadn't done enough to do anything. So he came in, with an issue that we had to deal with.
You said on the radio you met with Josh Gordon today. Does he, when you start practice this week, just kind of start full go practicing, or what?
Yeah, he's been cleared to go. He's ready to go. So again, we'll on Thursday when we get rolling again, he'll be going. He's in the building studying and all that, getting ready, and so we'll see how it goes.
What was your initial impression of Josh?
He was really clear, excited to be here. Had a good conversation about on a lot of topics and in a short time, and he met with the coaches and all that. He's bright, sharp, ready to learn, humble, looking for the opportunity to make something happen to help the club, and he had his seemingly had his sights on getting here. I was hoping to get here, so that's a good thing.
Do you have expectations for him?
I'm telling you, I'm not even. I'm just waiting and seeing. I'm just gonna, I've seen him on film, and he looks pretty special. He's got good history of making plays and all that. But I want to see him when he mixes with our guys and really just take it one step at a time, with no expectations of how much he would contribute or play or whatever. I'm just gonna see what happens.
Where does Diggs fit in?
Well, we'll see. We'll see during the week. I don't have anything to go on right now other than the film I've watched. But I'm really excited to see him because I like the way he plays. So we'll just wait and see.
Given Josh's history with substance abuse, what kind of plan do you guys have in place, or people do you have in place?
Hopefully, we're putting together a really good plan, and he has a really clear process that supports him, and we're all we're aligning to make sure that continues, and he feels very good about that, and we're going to do what our part that we can do here to accent and support his system that he's already got in order.
What is it about your culture that leads you to believe you can help players like that?
I don't know. I guess it's a sense that I've said a long time ago to you guys. I don't know. My dad always said, always give a guy a second chance, And sometimes when you do, remarkable things happen. And so if this is, in my way, I look at this as maybe a second opportunity for him. He's probably had a couple already. But so we're going to give him a shot to go, see what he can do.
You mentioned he's humble. Do you get the sense he knows this is the last chance for him?
I don't know that. We didn't talk about that.
Looked like Marquise played a lot of deep safety.
I'd say last chance. It's a second chance. Yes.
It looked like Marquise played a lot of deep safety for you guys yesterday. How did you feel he handled that in the way he played?
He got through the game. We stayed on top throughout the game. We didn't give up any bombs and deep balls that these guys are famous for, and so that was a good part of the plan. And he contributed to that. You saw the one deep ball down the middle that they threw all the way to the back and out of the end zone. They defended well. So he's coming. There's a lot of new stuff. There's a lot of new stuff for him, and because of how we wanted to play in this game plan, and Bradley coming back and had been playing strong safety. That it was the natural that he would go back there, that Keith would go back to free safety, and so we'll see. There's competition. Here it'll be interesting to see how it turns out.
What did the film show you, I guess, about the defense and especially their passing game and how they were able to get yards?
Well, they were really sharp. They did a really nice job, and of course they've got two great receivers and that have been making plays all year. And we wanted to hold them back, in the stuff we were playing zone-wise, and they beat us in some stuff that they did a nice job executing, and the thrower did a really nice job, and we didn't disrupt him enough. He was too comfortable throwing football, and only when we had some big pressures did we really, cause him some problems. So it wasn't hard enough on him on this day.
What stands out to you about San Francisco, and what sort of challenge does this game present?
Yeah, that they have. They've come a long ways in a short time, and Kyle's done a really nice job to turn the corner, to get to this point. Just judging off the last couple of years, they've always shown really good signs. This is a high-tech team. They're on their stuff, their schemes, their principles are really good, and they've always been that. They just had trouble getting it all together and getting their wins, but they're together now. They really are sharp in all aspects of their team. Defense is just playing lights out. They've had the benefit of some really good drafts, and they're loaded. Offensively, Kyle has always presented a bunch of problems and challenges with a really clear philosophy and approach, and real good sense for running the football, real commitment for running the football. The play passes off that stuff complement so well. It's just right now, the way they're firing, it's a very, very difficult team because they're complete. They look like a really complete football team.
How do you feel about the tight end position right now?
Well, we're making it. We're making it through it. I thought Jake had an extraordinary day for the tight end spot. Should have scored 3 touchdowns. Missed by a foot. Scoring another touchdown. Made a touchdown by maybe an inch, also. But he had a fantastic day for us. Luke contributed as well. Luke was banged up yesterday in that game and made it through it. Just in enormously courageous fashion. He was hurt and just stuck it out anyway. And then with George adds to that, that we get that kind of a build and a compliment. And it will be nice to get Ed back on the field. He's working. He made it through the week okay, and he did everything. And so, but I think it's important for him to get another week and get through it and build on it because he's been out for so long. The football shape is unique, and you can't simulate it until you get out there and really go for it. And so I want to make sure that when Eddie's back out there, he's out there and he's really solid and really confident and all that. So we'll see what happens this week. And he can definitely contribute to it, though.
With Hollister, you guys talk all the time about how important the practice squad guys are and part of the team. For a guy to go from there to what he did yesterday, just how good is that for the messaging to those guys?
Yeah, it's a great. Well, you saw the way the guys responded to him winning, with the win and play of the game. Thought that was really cool. It is important, because there's 10 guys on the practice squad that are playing every day right shoulder to shoulder with the guys that are playing. They don't get the rewards. They don't get what they want. They have to just keep plugging and keep battling. So that when one of those guys gets the chance to step up and then they come through and they do something really well, it's a great message for those guys to keep on believing, and keeping the hope alive and all. There's never been a day that Jake hasn't been a good worker. There's never been a day when he wasn't busting his butt to do whatever we needed him to do. And whether it was on service team or whether it was on special teams or servicing for the special teams, he's just giving you everything he's got every day. And so that's clear. Guys know that. They can tell, And so when he gets the chance, you're rooting for him. And that's exactly what happened. It's not unlike Joey. Joey has busted his tail for so long around here. When he got a chance, guys were really fired up about him, that he got this done and he contributed to a win and helped us and played well and did all of that. It's just rooting for you guys. And it's because they're connected. Whether they're on the practice squad or not, it's a good symbol of accomplishment and all that.
What have you noticed about the guys that you've had that you brought in here who have spent time in the Patriot system, like Hollister?
That they're happy to be here.
You mentioned Luke.
How have you, with Chris's 2 fumbles yesterday, how do you kind of view both of those individually and how they fit into
Yeah, they're totally different situations. The long run, I really wish Chris would have put the ball in his outside hand, for one. But he didn't want to do anything because he was in full stride to score. Wish he would have caught a look in the scoreboard maybe, see what was coming. And then it was a great punch, that got him. Fortunately, the ball went out of bounds. That was a crusher to him. Well, the other one was a totally different situation, one that we've worked on. He had the ball in the inside hand, and he's trying to bowl over the guy that's tackling him. And we don't use the football in that situation. It's too precious to expose it in that way. He's got to get his shoulder down, or he can't take that shot. And so that was just an aggressive moment for him, that he needs to protect the football with a better conscience than that. And it was an unfortunate play that could have been a back-breaking play, but our guys overcame it.
As you guys work through the defensive struggles, I guess how much of a luxury is it to have a quarterback like Russell Wilson, who can still win
that
win
helps.
games?
Yeah, that helps. Playing complementary football is important. And our guys, understand. I think we should be really clear on how much we need each other. And we've spent such a good amount of time and appreciating what the other guys do for, on both sides of the ball and all of that. And there's times when without the defense, the offense couldn't have done what they did. And it just happens. This game was really obvious that the offense really was the show, and they came through time and time again to keep us in that ball game. And so they're grateful for it. They know. I don't think that there's any issue with that at all, other than everybody wants to do their own part, though. The defense wants to make sure that they come through this week and they make the statement that helps us win the game this time.
Is Luke going to be able to play this week, or?
He says he is. I believe Luke. Whatever he says, I'm going with.
What have you done in run defense through 9 games?
Say it again.
Defense through 9
We've been inconsistent, but I do think that the one of the big inconsistencies was the Ravens game, and when they rushed for 200 on us, and that's a whole different thing to compare, So it just hasn't been as consistent as we like, and as always, it's the explosive plays that really make a difference. We got to cut those things down. We had a couple yesterday again, the runs. So it's the discipline of playing things right, play after play after play, that's getting away from us more than we want. It's not as good as it can be.
Are you looking to bring Phil or DeMarcus back to the roster this week at this point? Do you know yet?
Yeah, I'm going to just wait and see, because none of that's decided yet.
Anything else? Thank you.
Thank you.